Kunal, you know what I've noticed about Formula One? We were destined to be in Formula One. Because your birthday marks the end of the season and my birthday marks the beginning of the season. And that gives me an opportunity before he opens his mouth to wish him a very happy belated birthday here on Inside Line F1 podcast.
Thanks, Rishi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
That is Kunal Shah, only 64 years of age now.
Still eligible to be Bernie Ecclestone's successor then.
Or his daughter's husband to be. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that one for the team. My name is Rishi Kapoor. Kunal has just celebrated his birthday and in what style? One of our common friends has actually come up with a cake where he's sitting on a Formula One car. Of course, his face is morphed. But still.
Damn it. It should have actually been a Formula One car, Rishi.
Aww, you wouldn't have cut it any time. That's the problem, But yes, welcome to Inside Line F1 podcast. It's only 1 week into the lull and we're already feeling the sink and we're missing Formula One.
Just a week, Rishi, but do you know that we are actually where we were this time last Monday? There are still half a dozen seats left.
Ah, yes.
Okay. There is still Ross Brawn, who's looking for a team to go to as well. Mercedes finally confirmed his exit late last week. Okay.
It's only a matter of time before Lotus, and it might happen while we're speaking, that Lotus gives out the official statement of pass to joining them. But yes, Maldonado is a part of them and they're getting a lot of money. So suddenly Eric Boulier is like, oh, I got my salaries this month.
Yeah, so there is Maldonado still in contention.
Uh-huh.
There is Hülkenberg, who's yet awaiting to confirm his seat as well.
Uh-huh.
So technically, we're a week into the off-season and we're still where we were.
Yes, half a dozen seats yet to be filled, half a dozen absolutely mentioned by Kunal. Actually, I put it out on Twitter for somebody to count the number of absolutelys you've done. There's someone who's come with an answer. Absolute has to sponsor us now. Or I think we must go to Antiquity.
And why is that, Rishi?
Generally, anybody who pays us is we don't quit on Formula One. Okay, enough branding done for free. Next time we'll be charging if you're listening. But Brawn going away from Mercedes, this is a perfect pedestal move for him to come back with Honda and McLaren.
Yes, there's a very good chance for him to go back. Even to a Ferrari for that matter, Rishi. Okay. And somewhere I think I know we mentioned it last week itself, but Ross Brawn leaving Mercedes speaks volumes of how they've probably treated him.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and he ultimately wants to be the final reference point. And I have a feeling that he feels he's moved on from there. So I'd love to see the new challenge that he's going to end up taking for 14 or even later.
And every time he's been with a Ferrari / Honda, he's been successful. So everything in the recipe, everything in the making could go right. Along with who sits on the wall next to Ross Brawn are some engineers. One of the engineers could have a change in job. Elaborate.
So, Xavi Puloyar, who's actually been with Williams all these years, is now moving to Toro Rosso.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you'll wonder why am I suddenly giving you all these fancy names.
Uh-huh.
So that actually clears the way for Rob Smedley to join Felipe Massa in Williams next season.
Just to correct you, Toro Rosso is not a fancy name.
The engineer's name is, it took me 3 minutes to get it right, you know that.
That's why I called it pullover. Okay, Quantum deal yet to be finalized. Lotus still waiting for the checks. If Quantum finalizes, there's Nico Hülkenberg. You don't know what's happening, but the rumor still says that Sahara Force India F1 is going to have an all-new lineup next year. It could be Nico plus Perez.
Like I said, Rishi, at the start of the podcast, there are so many seats available that one is currently unable to pinpoint which driver is going to head where. And there are lots of talented drivers available out there as well.
Lots of talented drivers with lots of new nomenclature. Why I bring the point up is suddenly it's been discussed. Two things this week in Formula One. A, mandatory 2 pit stops, which we'll come to later. But B, permanent numbers for drivers, which means marketing gimmicks.
Absolutely. And I so believe that it's a move in the right direction. Because, see, ultimately Formula One lacks genuine brands out there. And by brands, what do I mean is barring a Ferrari and a McLaren and now a Red Bull and a Vettel and an Alonso and maybe a Hamilton. Okay. They seriously lack far more exciting brands being a part of it. So when suddenly you have a good driver associated with a number throughout his career in Formula One or motorsport for that matter, you're somewhere helping him create his own brand identity.
I would want to believe in the logic going in the direction of if I love Sachin Tendulkar, I will buy a number 10 jersey just because I like Sachin. So yes, I do understand where this is going, but there's going to be a fight for numbers. I tweeted about this and you retweeted it saying, Yes, there are a lot of takers for number 2. There's Weber, there's Massa, but I love Barrichello's t-shirt. It says clear number 2.
So Rishi, why don't I ask you your views? Okay, since you are very curious to know who's going to get which number. What number do you think a Sebastian Vettel deserves?
But right now he's number 1. He's got to get the number. He's earned it.
Well, he's earned it, but I tend to disagree with you because in my mind, and you have to agree with this as well, Michael Schumacher is always going to be the number 1 driver.
Given he's the god.
So you got to still figure out what number are you going to then assign to Sebastian Vettel.
You know, Seb has achieved probably half what Michael has got, and he's almost getting there. So we'll give him half as the number. There's 1 somewhere, but with a stroke and a 2 below it. Okay, throw the names. I'm going to give you the numbers now.
So the next driver, in my view, or I'd like to know about, is Fernando Alonso.
Fernando's t-shirt says trying to be number 1 for the last 4 years.
So then moving on, what number do you think a Lewis Hamilton should be?
Lewis Hamilton's car is going to say mostly number 1 except when Rosberg beats me.
Okay. Jenson Button?
Jenson Button says 1 with a stubble.
Okay, then this is a really interesting one, Rishi. Let's see what you come up with. What do you think about Pastor Maldonado?
There'll be a 1 with a $ next to it.
Okay, wait, I got a better one.
Yeah.
He won't have a number.
Why?
He'll have a hashtag. You know the hash that we use, which is Shift and 3, usually on keyboards.
Yeah.
Because he's always crashing into things. So, you know, a hashtag represents crossroads everywhere you go, just banging into things there
You mean
itself.
a crash tag?
Yeah. Kimi Räikkönen. What number do you think Kimi Räikkönen should
Kiwi's
be?
car's not going to have a number. It's going to have an ice cream stick instead.
The Magnum ice cream stick. Okay. If I was to still give Kimi a number, Rishi.
Yes.
Okay. The number that his t-shirt would have would be the radio frequency number.
And if Kimi had to become an RJ, I would lose my job. I mean, he's just so good on radio. No matter what radio it is, how clear it is. The 2014 approaches, and there was just recently an award function, and Vettel said, you know, I'm not so sure. I hope, you know, racing doesn't lose the charm. And he started with V10s, and he doesn't know what the V6 is going to get to the table. And it is a big question.
What he said was extremely interesting, Rishi, you know, and I'm just going to repeat it for the benefit of our listeners, that he said the 2014 rules mustn't come at the cost of the thrill factor. Okay. And he's very nicely explained where his first ever Formula 1 test was in a V10 engine, was with BMW back then.
Yes, BMW Williams.
And you know how after that, immediately when he made his debut, he drove the V8s and he suddenly felt the difference. And now he's not too sure of what the V6s are going to be like, though he knows he's losing out on revs. Okay, so it's suddenly going from, you know, really badass engines to now cute looking, cute sounding, small little engines in Formula 1.
You know, it's rumored that a few engines, the new V6s might fit in ladies' handbags.
But you know what, Rishi? Talking of engines, and I know we have to speak about the Formula E engines in the next segment, but I really want to see a Formula car now with a jet pack behind it.
That's how fast they're going to go in the future. Formula E, and you bring it up, and there has been a test with Formula E. They only use 25% of the power, but it just sounds very funny. It's the way to go. I understand it's the future, but it's just
Yeah, I mean, you know, I haven't really been interested in Formula E till such time Mahindra Racing announced their purchasing of the Indian franchise. Okay. But yes, like you said, it is the future of motorsport. It's electric machines, it's environmental friendly, zero emissions, etc. But somewhere, you know, when I heard the engine sound, and if you know, we ran a bit of a poll on our Facebook page last week as well. There were a lot of people came back saying it's a very high-pitched sound, and, you know, it's not a sound which really resonates, it's not sounding as ferocious. In fact, David Sonicher, a gentleman who runs a lot of motorsport events on the Asian region, turned around and said that he would really not want to see onboard footage given the kind of sounds that those engines are emitting.
But having said all of that, yes, it's picking potential, it's picking up momentum, and it's going to be the way to go.
And we have an Indian team.
Yay! Kudos to the people who have the bucks to buy it. Kudos to people who talk about it, and that is going to be Kunal, Shah and Rishi Kapoor. We're going to be talking about lots more than just Formula 1. We're going to be having a tentative driver list for 2014. I am hoping by the next podcast.
Absolutely. And what we may just also have, Rishi, is our 2013 Formula 1 Podcast Awards list.
Woo! Just a little reminder, if you have a certain category in mind, you can always send it to us. There are links below this podcast that you can hit and reply to us. Kunal Shah will do the editing bit because, you know, I'm lazy. My name is Rishi Kapoor. Kunal Shah and Rishi Kapoor get together for Inside Line F1 podcast. Week after week, Formula 1 it is.